Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of 10 Minute Marvel. And to the surprise of our co-host, we're going to be talking about the live-action Marvel shows coming out this next year.
What? What?
As well as then news and rumors. I am your host, who's on top of things, Petter, and joining me as always.
The best co-host ever. It's Greg, everybody. I am prepared always. There's obviously an inside joke going here that we are talking about a certain topic today that I'm not ready for. So, prepare to have Greg wing it once again.
I'm pretty sure we reached the point where that joke was outside.
Yes. Yep. True. All right. Well, I'm gonna give it all I got, and you guys are gonna love it. But if you're looking for ways to support us, you can like and subscribe on our YouTube channel. You can find us and follow us on Facebook and X. Hashtag 10 Minute Marvel is how you can do that there. And of course, you can leave a rating and review wherever you get your friendly neighborhood podcast from. Please do that. We appreciate it. We enjoy it. We like the comments. We like to feel like somebody's listening.
Yeah, speaking of that, we had 83 people click play on the podcast on YouTube this like
Wow.
the most recent episode.
Who gave the kids the iPads?
I know. Yes.
Just clicking.
So we greatly appreciate everybody who is checking out the podcast and appreciate the support from everybody as well. So let's touch on the first rumor here. And this one is a Production Weekly one where something in Production Weekly, I haven't seen like a great detail on it, made people think that Marvel is starting to work on a season 2 of Agatha all along.
Told you.
Yeah, I still am not that interested because how are they going to make the title work? Like, we have a ghost Agatha who should be the focus of the show. It made sense, Agatha, all along. It was clever for the first season. So I'm taking that one with a little bit of a grain of salt.
I don't know. Yeah, could be Agatha all are gone. I don't know. She's gone. She's a ghost. I'm spitballing here.
Yeah, Agatha 2, Tokyo Drift.
Let's see how many Tokyo Drift like references we can toss into our jokes on a weekly podcast. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure they could think of something, but you're right. That it's a little restrictive, right, on that
Yes.
title. So
Yeah, and obviously they use that title to great effect and like the understanding of the plot for season. I don't know how you could have something else like that.
hmm. Yeah. I mean, who says it has to be Agatha all along? Like,
Right. Well, but that's what this rumor is.
well, it's that they're working on another Agatha show. Like a
Agatha All Along season 2. Let me pull up the post that I shared with that. One second. There we go. A second season of Agatha All Along is reportedly in development via Production Weekly.
well, sure, they probably didn't know what else. I mean, you had to call it by
Yeah,
what it
true.
was.
Yes.
So I can
It's
see
just,
them just saying,
yeah,
screw it, let's just call it what we want. But
yep. And take it, like, pull it back from being a true second season, kind of like Agatha All Along is the second season of WandaVision.
mhm.
Yes, technically ish, but also no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agatha here and gone.
Yes.
Agatha,
Bakes a flan.
I mean, the sky's the limit, right?
It'd be really tricky because she's a ghost.
Right. It would
Maybe
be.
she Ratatouille's Wiccan.
That could work. That could work.
I have lots of other bad ideas too, Marvel. So that was the only rumor that I have this week.
Oh man.
Everything
That
else
means
is
I'm gonna have to
news.
talk and make up a lot of stuff for our actual topic. Okay.
No,
On to the
there's
news.
a few different news things. First off, there were some new images, kind of poster, comic book cover style images for your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. They looked good. I mean, showed a few different versions of suits that he'll have for the show. Which, speaking of the animated stuff, I do want to hit the community tab here and we've had seven people vote as to what their most anticipated animated Marvel show is in 2025, or, well, end of 2024, 2025. 71% Marvel Zombies.
Oh, very anti what we said.
Yep. We had it at our number four. Everybody else has it as their number one, which is fair. I think I see why
Yeah,
a lot of people are excited about that one because I think that one is probably the easiest to know precisely what it's going to be, and it should be fun.
right. Yeah, people have been asking that for that the
Yes.
zombies for quite a while, so I can see that too. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, I think I said, it could be end up being the number one
Yeah.
out of like all the shows once we get to
Yeah.
that point in time next year and we review. But
Yes. Yeah. And then both X-Men 97 and Patty LuPone were nominated for Critics' Choice Awards.
that's cool.
Yeah. I feel like very deserving on both of them.
Way better than an MTV award. Do they
Hmm.
still do those?
I don't. Is MTV still a thing?
Um,
I'm
I think it's just a
assuming
big long
yes.
infomercial now, probably.
Okay. So probably has been, I mean, that feels like what it was for the past 15 years. So it would make
Yeah.
sense they can still keep that going. Yeah. Then Coleman Domingo has come in and said that he has talked with Kevin Feige and Marvel about a role, um, which is not his Norman Osborn in Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. So something live action, I believe.
Hmm.
What do you think that could be?
Blue Marble.
Marvel? Okay. I know you're pitching that one.
I know I'm pushing that hard. I mean, or he's kind of too old for a new Black Panther, right? He's kind of,
Hmm.
I think he's probably in his late 30s, maybe 40s,
Coleman Domingo is 55.
or mid 50s,
Yeah.
Looks good though. Man, looks good for
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
obviously
don't.
can't tell people's
Yeah.
age.
I
I think
won't
Petter
be.
is actually 12, but he's
Yeah.
not.
The beard gives it away that I'm very nice and young.
I I just thought you're one of those freak werewolf kids.
Yeah.
I just
That's fair. That's fair. Um.
no
Yeah.
shade on you werewolf kids. I know it's not your fault.
I'm trying to think who. I mean, there was the rumor a long time ago, obviously, that he was in the running if they were going to replace Jonathan Majors as Kang.
Hmm.
But I'm not sure that I'm really that big a fan of that at this point. I feel like just keep Kang out of there and yeah, come up with other characters who could play.
Like
But
I don't know, a striker or
Striker, I mean Bishop,
bishop, sure. Ooh, bishop
because
would be fun.
yeah, because he's probably not going to be like Bishop's not the type of character you're necessarily going to be like, yeah, we're going to have him in 18 different X-Men movies.
Yeah,
But give him a few different times and he can always pop back in when something goes haywire in the future.
there you go. I mean, he'll probably be younger by
Mhm.
then, according to my rules of time.
Yes.
Jeez.
So James Gunn, and I'm not sure if this is, I think this is James Gunn having said this, that he was considering some spin-offs for Guardians of the Galaxy before he moved over to DC. And the spin-offs were a Ravengers TV show,
Yeah.
the legendary Star-Lord,
Hmm?
obviously that one set
Yeah.
up,
Yeah.
and then a Rocket and Groot project.
Live action?
I would assume so, yeah.
That'd be
I mean,
cool.
it's live action as Rocket and Groot.
Art, right?
Yeah.
I suppose. Um,
Which one of those
I,
are you saddest to have him not doing?
um, let's see, the Rocket and Groot, the Ravengers, and the Legend.
Legendaries.
I've kind of, as we've talked about Legendary Star-Lord, it feels like a fun idea. Like I would love to
Hmm.
see Peter Quill on Earth, especially um because of what's his nuts playing him. Um,
Um, Chris Pratt.
yeah, thank you. Boy, I was really working hard on that one. So I think that would
John
be the one.
Malkovich.
John, yes, John Malkovich. Um,
Yeah, it would have been fun to have him stick around to do that one.
yeah, agree. Is that what you'd probably put as top
I
or?
think so. Like Ravengers doesn't excite me that much.
It'd be fun, but it
Hmm.
feels like it'd just be another Guardians kind of thing.
Yeah, and Rocket and Groot. I sure that could be fun, but I'm also not sure that I need something that is just them.
Hmm.
So I'm trying to think even how that project would have worked or where he would have wanted to go with it.
I would hope it would go more towards some of Groot's history
His
or
roots.
his story. Yeah. Oh, nice. I see what you did there.
That's
Uh, um,
why I pay me the big bucks.
their own branch timeline. So,
Yeah,
yeah. Yes. So I guess I don't know what is happening on this podcast tonight.
I don't
Um,
know.
so yeah, I'm gonna go with the legendary Star-Lord. I think that'd be a lot of fun. But I think the Groot, and if we could explore more of Groot, I think that'd be cool too.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
what is he, a
So no,
metachlorian? Is that what that
no, that's Star Wars.
what is Mandalorian? Nope, that's also
Yeah.
Star Wars. What's his what is a Groot? What are they?
Flora Colossus.
Oh, yeah, that was close.
Yep, Metachlorians, Flora Colossi.
I
Very
think the syllables are there, right?
maybe.
Everybody tap them out, clap them out.
So then Marvel did release a couple new videos, like for promoting two of their upcoming projects. I'm assuming you watched them both.
I tried. I
All right.
tried watching the What If,
Hmm.
and I started watching it, and I couldn't finish it. And then I didn't know there was a second one. What was the second one?
So the second one was earlier in the week. It is a Microsoft Copilot ad where they do a little bit more with Torres in it.
Oh, oh yeah, I
I
did
think
see some of that.
yeah, it's been playing during football games this weekend. I've seen it.
Oddly, I have not seen it. I watched quite a bit of football today instead of doing my podcast research.
Yes.
Don't tell the teacher. The Florida stuff kind of look cool. Is that actual movie footage that they're going to use, or is it just extra bonus stuff that they are tossing in for advertisement?
I mean, there's definitely extra stuff that they're tossing in there for advertisement. Um, I'm pretty sure most of it well, everything with Torres in that room, I think is probably was done for advertisement. Anything outside of that room, I think is footage from the film.
Hmm. Okay. Um, the what if stuff,
Yeah.
I couldn't really break down. I was trying to see what was new out of it. What did
Mhm.
you pull out of it?
Honestly, it was a lot that we've seen before. We did get a nice Avenger Assemble line when they went
Was
Voltron with the
oh yeah,
giant mech.
was that new? Didn't they have that last time?
I they had the giant mech. I'm not sure if I think they dwelt on it a little bit longer in this one, and
Hmm.
they dwelt on like Storm with Mjolnir a little bit longer. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, it's primarily the same footage that was before, which what is today's date?
Ninth?
Ninth or is it the eighth?
Eighth.
Eighth. So 14 days from now comes out first episode.
That's crazy. Only because that also means that it's like
Yeah, the year is
Christmas.
gone. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the year is done.
Yes.
Oh,
And then it will be 2028 all over again.
God, I know, right? So glad I'm skipping those.
Listen to
That's a
last week's episode to
that's a
catch that
callback from
joke.
last week. Yeah.
And then listen to like 3 months ago to get the John Malkovich joke.
Oh God, I almost want a t-shirt that I have my own quote on.
Yeah, we should do that. Who's the guy in John Malkovich?
Yeah,
Or
what's the
what's the
guy
guy?
who's
What's
the
the guy's
lead
name
the
in
lead
John
character?
Malkovich?
Yeah.
What's the name of the actor in John being John
Oh man, so good.
Malkovich?
Yeah, if you can't laugh at
Yes.
yourself, people,
Yes.
life's just not worth
So
living.
that's the news. And let's move on to the main topic, the three live action shows coming up here in 2025. First off, what is it? March, forget the date, that Daredevil
Spider.
Born Again comes out.
Oh, March 19th.
Google's not helping me. Uh, Release date, March 4th.
Oh, March 4th.
Yeah. So that's coming out then. Um, the actor who plays Bullseye, can't think of his name,
Ooh, I'm not gonna be a help on that one. I can look it up.
but he said that this is supposed to be about that. I think he said 5 years after the events of the Netflix show. I'm not sure if I fully by that timeline,
Wilson
but
Bethel. Right.
Wilson, yes. But obviously, it's considerably after that, and I'm
Hmm.
sure that it'd be after the events, fully after the events of Endgame, and probably after the events of She-Hulk.
Yeah. I'm trying to think where did all that line up? I'm trying to think back to like the Daredevil series where it ended,
So that ended in t November of 2018.
but the actual time that the show was set in, was that right
Yeah,
there in that same
I
time?
I believe it was, yes.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, now I need a timeline here. So
Hmm.
that's after Endgame, and is it after Multiverse of Madness?
What, that the
It
show
has to
ended?
be.
What
No,
the
just the time frame of this, like the new show, the Born Again.
Yeah, it has to be after all of that. I would imagine they're trying to keep it as close to in timeline order as possible.
Yeah. After Echo, then,
Yeah, I would
right?
think. Well, because he's supposed to be running for mayor, so it
Right.
has to
So it
be.
has to be. Yeah.
Yep.
Duh. Okay.
Yeah. I think the closer the show gets, the one thing I'm really excited to see what they do with it is Muse.
Hmm.
Just because Muse is such a disturbing villain
Yeah.
that, yeah, I want to see how they play around with that and if they do anything with and well, just what they do with that, because obviously something like that would bring like the likes of Fisk and uh Daredevil like in alignment. Because if Fisk can be like, yes, we cleaned up this menace.
Right. As a mayor, he's trying to
Yeah.
put on a
Or
show, right? And
yeah, or as a mayoral candidate,
yeah.
even if
Right.
this is happening in his area of New York City, like where people are like, oh yeah, he's from that area, and this this is happening right in his backyard. It's going to give him something to like preach on, like my opponent is soft on this.
Mhm.
I'm going to be the one to take it down, or it might be used against him. Of like he can't even protect his own backyard.
Right. So he'll team up um
Daredevil.
with Daredevil to
Yeah.
try and get rid of Muse in whatever way possible.
Yeah.
So I wonder, yeah, were you thinking also like how much they're going to play into kind of the horrific nature of Muse? Do you think that they'll keep that soft, or is it going to be kind of brutal? And I mean, the show is itself is
Yeah.
pretty
I
edgy.
think that it's going to be pretty brutal. Um, well, if you're not familiar with the comics, Muse basically uses the blood of his victims or parts of his victims to create his artwork. And I think they're going to do that. I don't think we're going to necessarily see Muse dismembering people or like creating the artwork, but I think there'll be a piece of horrific artwork.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of how they'll get around that or make that work.
Yet, I was gonna say Fisk, I know, is a lover of art. So I wonder if it's going to be tied in there to Vanessa too. Like, is there some sort of, since Vanessa is very much like she was owned an art gallery, right? That's kind of how they met, Fisk and her met. You haven't seen the show.
Nope.
Oh, well. So
I'm familiar
she,
with the comics, but
yeah, yeah. So she in the show she's sells her art. She got a and she's very much
mhm.
in the art scene. So I just kind of wonder if there's going to be any little triangular, maybe I don't know, love not a love affair, but like what's
Like
Muse's goal
Muse.
here? Yeah, Muse
Yeah.
maybe has an interest in Vanessa or something like that, and
Yeah.
yeah, maybe that's also something that sets off Fisk to go after him.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. And I think Fisk will want to use Daredevil to get to Muse, to take Muse out versus bring Muse to justice.
or do you think he's in cahoots with Muse to bring Daredevil down?
That's a possibility too. I feel
Or to make
like,
him look really bad, to set
yeah.
him up.
I mean, I think Fist would be egotistical enough to think I can pull this off and I won't get caught, but I feel like they're better served not having that be the case, just because I think it would be more interesting to have Muse kind of be this villain that brings them together versus, yeah, kind of this puppet.
Yeah, it still feels like there's got to be a twist in there because Fisk has got ulterior motives for
Yeah.
Daredevil, right? But I agree. Like, I think it's gonna be cool to see them kind of work together, but in the
Mhm.
end, how one's gonna screw over the other kind of thing.
Yeah, like
So
Fisk is going to screw over Daredevil and or Matt Murdock if he can, but it's going to be done. But he's going to first use him as an asset.
yeah, but I think Murdoch is also gonna want to take down Fisk, right? So he's probably
Yes.
trying to figure something out there too. So kind of get a two for
Hmm.
one.
Yeah.
Um, how do you think John Barathel's Punisher is gonna play in? Do you think he's gonna be there quite a bit, or is he gonna be more of a in and out kind of character?
Think more of an in and out kind of character. That's just kind of the feeling that I have for it. It seems like with yeah, because I just don't know how he interacts with Muse. If Muse is the main villain, which it seems like would be. Maybe I almost wonder if Punisher gets in the way of Daredevil a couple times, like when Daredevil is trying to take down Fisk or like find information on Fisk that he can make public to sabotage the campaign if Punisher will have already taken out like a one of Fisk's operations, and so the information's just not there or something like that.
I'm trying to
Then
remember
they'll,
how that show or that series, the Netflix series part of it ended off with their relationship. I think it was very much you do your thing, I'll do my thing, if I recall.
mhm.
I can't quite remember. It was a while ago.
I mean that
Anyway,
to me that would make sense for kind of where they left it off because Daredevil really won't necessarily use the same methodologies,
right. Yeah.
and at least not with the confidence level that Punisher does. Punisher is just like, I think something bad is happening over here. Let me start shooting.
Yes.
Yeah, so that will be interesting. Any other like how much do you think his partner and Karen will show up?
Oh, Foggy.
Yeah,
Um,
they feel like more to me.
yeah, I think that I think they'll be there quite a bit, actually. Um, I can see Karen Page being used more, I would
Hmm.
say, than Foggy. I don't, I guess it depends on where their relationships are at with these, because 5 years later
Yeah.
could mean that Foggy, well, I think they're actually, there's the Matt, Murdoch and whatever their law firm is called, Nelson or Murdoch, there we go.
Yep.
Because that's where I think that left off. Because in the Netflix series, they kind of broke apart as friends for a while, but then at the end, they kind of patched things up. Spoiler alert. Sorry, Petter. Um, and so I could see them kind of coming back together now. Whether Karen Page is going to be involved or she's going to be doing her own thing, like a reporting kind of thing. Because I mean, the Born Again isn't isn't the story in that one where actually Karen Page has gone off and she gives out the secret of who Matt Murdock, who Daredevil is?
I forget if it's that, but it's
Because she goes on some sort of like, I don't know, drug and alcohol binge, and then she's down in
yeah.
Mexico, gives up the information. It works its way up to Kingpin. Kingpin then starts
Yes. Yep.
manipulating, right, kind of things to pin Murdoch in a way that he really like everything's kind of against him, right? Everything.
Yeah.
So um,
I'm not sure they'll quite go that far with it.
I don't think they would. I think they'll keep Karen Page more close and.
Yes. I don't think they'll do the drugs and alcohol bit.
No, she'll just do prostitution, probably. That's what I'm thinking. I'm just kidding. No. Um, just to keep the show really edgy, you know.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, I think that there'll be some aspects of the Born Again, the comic version, but I don't think that will be one of them. I think
Yeah.
they'll,
Well, they've kind of done some of the Born Again storyline already in the Netflix show, I believe.
probably. Oh, maybe.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah, that's more of just of a, yeah, I think that we're going to see certain elements that might be similar, but I think the Born Again title is more a guess who's back, back again.
Maddie's back.
Yep.
Um,
Murdoch's back. Tell your
yep.
friends.
I think that one of the biggest things I'm looking forward to is some of these fight sequences because I think they're gonna bring that back.
Yes.
There was great fight sequences in the Netflix version, and they are I think there's gonna be some really brutal fights in there. It's gonna be good. So
Hmm. Same. So then the next show coming up after that is in June. We're getting Ironheart.
finally.
finally, this one has been in the can for a long time.
Me, so I think
And
I was in high school.
3 years ago, according to Greg's timelines.
I I'm really loving this whole thing of me not having any comprehension of what like year it is or how time works. It's great.
Yeah. Um, I'm excited for this one. One of the kind of the ideas is that we're getting Mephisto with this one. This is where Sacha Baron Cohen's supposed to show up as Mephisto, and there are some scenes where it looks like Riri's doing some sketchy stuff.
Prostitution?
No,
No.
robbing banks or armored cars.
It's all right.
Yeah,
Tying into the
but
Born Again
yeah,
series.
yeah, but I'm going to be curious to see if she actually does do any questionable things, or if that's more Mephisto trying to tempt her. Because I know that that's one of the working theories out there.
Right. I feel like it could be something where it's a means to an end for her in a
Hmm.
way, like the ends justify the means, maybe, or she's unaware of really what. Maybe it's like a misinformation kind of thing. Like if, hey, let's do this because these people are doing X and Y and Z bad things. So if you help me with this, then it'll bring those people down or whatever, you know. So it's a misinformation campaign by the Hood or Mephisto, right?
Yeah,
So. Um, this is probably the series I'm least excited for.
yeah, we'll
I
get back
think
to that order in at the
yes.
end of the episode. So,
So I think yeah, with Mephisto's sounding if this actually happens, I still can't figure out how they're going to do this. Like
mhm.
I mean I get it, I guess. I think I understand how they're going to do it, but I think I'm interested to see how they do the magic and
Yes.
technology aspect and how they meld it together.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, the same. And I'm curious to know who's the villain too for this piece. Because is it going to be the Hood? Is it going to be Mephisto? Who might
hmm.
the villain be? Because I think there's a lot of there's a couple strong options there, but it's a little interesting to I don't know, they've given the Hood a fair amount of screen time.
Yeah, I just don't think Mephisto's going to be really present. I mean,
Not
it'd
a
be actually it'd be kind of cool if he was, because I think Sacha Baron Cohen would crush it, and it'd be really fun to watch his performance. But it seems like he's a more of a man in the shadows.
yeah, kind of.
So why
Or
yeah, to play that card like that, like
mhm.
to just toss out, "Hi, I'm a evil demon," you
Right.
know?
Well, but that's the whole thing when Mephisto is you he shows up as kind of that wolf in sheep's clothing. Like, oh, I see you're going through a hard time. Do you accept my help to with whatever your problem might be? Or
To
you're in
the
a lot of
hood, you're saying to the hood.
to the Hood or to Riri
Hmm.
because like her father I believe has passed away. She is not well she potentially gets kicked out of like MIT, and so she's having to kind of rebuild from the ground up without that much in the way of means to do so. And so can Mephisto tempt her being like, well, if she's for example like she's going to be evicted from her garage space where she's building her new suit. Could he be like, I can help with that. I can give you a way to keep that.
I don't think Mephisto and Riri. I think it's more of Mephisto and the Hood. I think it's how what the Hood needs, what his
Mhm.
what his goals are, and Mephisto's going to help with that for
And
what
Riri
other
gets
larger
caught up
and
in that.
yeah, and the Hood looks to her for a
So,
like yeah, technological help of some kind. I don't
mhm.
know. And there's a greater something that we're not going to understand right away, or maybe for the series, but there's a greater means to why Mephisto's doing this and why the Hood is doing this, maybe.
Yeah,
So, which is
yeah.
cool, which would be great.
Mhm. But yeah, I could see
Formulaic, maybe, but
maybe, but I could still see Mephisto showing up and kind of tempting um Riri too, because yes, Mephisto's a devil, but in the comics he often appears like I think in the when like the controversial Spider-Man storyline where Spider-Man and MJ like lose their marriage basically to save Aunt May and they have to kind of start rebuilding that. He shows up as a little girl or an old lady. I forget which it is to basically one more day. That's the storyline. But he shows up not as like a devil per se to start the conversation. And so I could see that happening
Mhm.
with Riri.
Oh, sure.
It might be a little bit more devilish for
Yeah,
the hood.
that'd be kind of cool. I mean, it'd be kind of cool if it was, yeah. It's obviously not Sacha Baron Cohen Mephisto
Mhm.
showing up.
What,
It's
you don't want him to play an old lady?
well, actually, that's not a bad idea.
I mean, it's a better idea than him playing a little girl.
Yes. Yes. Uh just Ali G, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, so but yeah, this one I'm just so curious about mainly because of how long they've had it filmed.
Right. It I don't know. Yeah, again, it's been a long time. So we'll
Well,
see how
two
it plays
years,
in.
yeah,
Yeah.
2 years ago they showed footage at D23
Yeah.
for the first time.
Have they ever scrapped something like this? I mean,
No,
they
Marvel
like
has never scrapped something that was filmed.
okay. Interesting. I mean, that's
That's DC's.
that's
That's
DC, that's more of a DC thing.
yeah, Warner Brothers.
All right, what do we got next? Are we good with that one? I
Then
feel
yeah, I
I
think
feel
so. Then the
okay.
final one is Wonder Man,
Oh,
which I mean, I feel like Daredevil Born Again, we have an idea, like a pretty solid idea. We know the villain.
yep,
Then we have Ironheart. Well, we have some ideas for that one. It's been out, it's been filmed for quite a while. Like information has kind of gotten out there
yep,
to some extent. I'm actually surprised how little has gotten out there in some ways.
yeah.
And then there's Wonder Man that
Big
was rumored
old
not to be happening while it was filming. Like the most confusing what is going on with this show. Um, yeah, Trevor Slattery back, rumored to have the Grim Reaper in there, rumored to have like West
not
Coast
death,
Adventure.
right? That's
Right.
not death. It's Grim Reaper.
Yes.
Okay,
Grim Reaper is not like the Grim Reaper, but like a super villain
okay.
named Grim Reaper. And then is Bob Odenkirk still attached to Wonder
Oh,
Man?
I don't know.
I know he was. It sounds like he is not in that. That was just a rumor. But yeah, it's. I'm trying to see who else may have, or who else is like
N
officially
Nathan
in.
Fillion as MODOK? Wait,
That
is
doesn't
that
sound right.
that can't be, that is not
No.
right. Come on.
Um, yeah, so named characters. We're supposed to have Billy Griffin as a federal agent, Tori Vogel as a DODC agent, Dalla Rooney as a audience member, Jaspreet Sabrina Dosanjh as Ruth, Emmanuel McCord as Dave, Demetrius Gross, probably Gross, as Eric Williams, so that would be Grim Reaper.
Yeah.
And then Ben Kingsley as Trevor Slattery, and yeah, yeah, Abdul Mateen II as Simon Williams.
Oh, don't forget Emmanuel McCord as Dave.
I said that one.
Oh, did you? I
Yeah.
just sorry, I was
You
trying to
missed me
find the
saying
cast.
Dave,
I did. I'm sorry. I
but
it's so funny. It's just Dave.
mhm. So is it going to be like is this going to be a situation where this is like an origin story of Wonder Man?
I
And Wonder Man's supposed to be this character in a movie, but he somehow ends up getting powers to basically have to face off against his brother who's causing havoc as a villain.
I've
Or
honestly
is,
I've kind of ever since I heard that rumor of Yaya actually it's actually him in the show.
Mhm.
I've been really curious about that and just kind of intrigued by that idea. So it'd be him trying to get a part,
But he says when he goes into audition, he
right?
says that he is Simon Williams.
Right. Which, yeah, kind of throws that out the window. I mean, which could be whatever. I mean, it was intriguing to me to having that fourth wall breaking the layer to it,
Yeah.
which gets really tricky and kind of
Yes.
can cause
Well,
too much chaos, right? But it was a really kind of unique idea
mhm.
that I
Mhm.
that I kind of enjoyed.
It can put it, I feel like they probably have learned from She-Hulk of like how to use fourth wall breaking
Hmm.
because that one was just so far
Yeah. And
that I think they want to. I don't even think that Wonder Man is going to fourth wall break, but
No,
so that for me is like, yeah, I just don't see that for the character or for the story, them wanting to do something so fourth wall breaking again.
yeah. And kind of for the listeners, I'm see if I can recall how they were going to do this, but it was Yaya was going to be in Hollywood trying to get a part, and
Hmm.
he and that part was for, I'm guessing,
Wonder Man,
Wonder
I believe.
Man. Yep.
Yeah,
And somehow he ends up getting these powers, and then he's trying to be Wonder Man, but I think there's that other side of him, right? I think that there's some mental health issues or something like
yeah.
that. So it was an interest. I can't remember if it was like with the comic circus or if it was the Cosmic Wonder or I can't remember who did it, but it was an interesting theory nonetheless.
Hmm.
It added a very an extra interesting layer to the story as we were just kind of discussing, but doesn't quite work and seems to complicate things a little too much, I think, for a character that
I
kind of
mean,
not followed a whole lot, I would
yeah,
say.
if they're tossing this out as like I'm thinking too with the West Coast Avengers rumors tied in with this one, is this like is do they want to have something kind of that out of left field for it? Like if he
Right.
ends up in the MCU as Simon Williams, because I feel like they'd want to play it a little bit closer, though I want to normal stuff, though I do expect this with Trevor Slattery, and just from what we saw of the kind of like the first little clips, I do expect kind of a comedic element to it.
Right.
So are they gonna be developing like a West Coast Avengers team that they could use on Disney Plus, where you could have like White Vision, um, Wonder Man, She-Hulk, and maybe like Wong as a West Coast Avengers team.
Yeah.
Shang-Chi
That's a pretty good
even.
lineup. I mean, it kind of all I feel like works together, those
Hmm.
characters. So,
Yeah. And a lot of them are solid at comedy too.
mhm.
So they could be that little bit more of a comedic team since Marvel's too scared to do the Great Lakes Avengers.
Bunch of wusses.
I know. Well, that's because you keep on threatening to go audition for Leatherboy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it just I feel that character, I feel like
Hmm.
I could really relate to that character.
Yeah, still weirds me out. No.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you saw the collection of stuff I had. It only makes
Yeah.
sense, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's why we don't do video podcasts.
Yeah, right. I know. I'd have to cover up all these chains.
All the leather.
Hmm. Put a shirt
So,
on, you
mhm.
know,
So many different things. No.
love
But
my nipple clamps.
what what do you think, like besides that plot idea, which doesn't seem to line up with the fact that he says that he's Simon Williams in that scene. Obviously, I mean it's Marvel and it's a trailer footage. They could have just filmed that for a trailer.
Right. They could have, and then it actually
Mm.
says he's Yaya.
Yeah. Yeah, it's but let's say that that's not the case. What other like plot do you feel like could be coming for this one? Like I said, this is the one where I'm like, I got no idea for a lot of it.
I I feel like it's gotta, I mean, a lot of the show I'm assuming is his own personal struggle.
Hmm.
And then, but there still seems like he's got to be up against someone or something, right? So
Yeah.
who who
I
would that
mean,
be?
Grim Reaper makes the most sense.
Oh yeah, I forgot about him. Um,
Yeah.
what's his deal? I gotta look.
Grim Reaper, MCU or Marvel.
Illusions, clairvoyancy, teleportation, necromancy. Am I
Okay,
saying
yeah,
that right?
necromancy.
Is that like love the
Bringing the
dead?
yeah, bring dead back to life.
Okay.
I mean, it could lean into like I'm looking at the weaknesses. Mental instability. Eric has obsessive tendencies, self-delusions, and irrational prejudice tend to undermine his leadership skill.
Hmm. What they wouldn't like they wouldn't combine the two characters, would they? Like this is his other half. This is Simon
No,
Pegg's other Simon Pegg.
no, that's Nick
The
Frost.
Yep, sorry. Wonder Man's other side.
Yeah, I I almost wonder if they're going to lean into kind of that mental instability side of it, where it maybe even is both of them are actors.
Mm. Or maybe he sees this other person, like he can't tell if this other person, the Grim Reaper character, is actually somebody that's coming for him. What is his mental illness again? Is
Well,
it like a
well, I'm wondering,
schizophrenia?
well, I'm wondering if his brother has like some delusions of this, and maybe Simon beats him out for the role of Wonder Man, and the brother kind of takes it personally and kind of snaps over that.
So they're both actors trying going for the same role.
Yeah. And so he's had, like, Simon has had some mental illness, like mental breakdown, where he's like attacked the Avengers. He also has extreme, ever since recovering from his last breakdown, Simon has refused to resort to violence, even when absolutely necessary, which makes him basically useless in combat.
He doesn't want to use his powers.
Yeah. Could they do something like that where he gets his powers, say, a few days into filming? He sees the destruction that he causes, and then because he's working with Trevor Slattery, who is a pacifist, basically, as well, or at least kind of has given some of that vibe.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Like, is he trying to be a pacifist while having superpowers and having to deal with his brother who is on a rampage? Maybe his brother also gets superpowers and is using them for evil because of the mental aspect,
Hmm.
mental instability. And so the eventual solution comes through dealing with the mental problem and starting to get help for that versus a fight.
I can see that. Yeah, because he's fairly overpowered.
Hmm.
I can see that if he has a reluctancy to use his powers. Yeah. I don't know. I don't really know where Wonder Man where does he fit? It doesn't
Hmm.
feel like he's not really filling a void that we need. So power set wise, it's like
Yeah.
don't really need him. I mean, of course, sure, why not having him as a power as is useful
Hmm.
against whatever big bad comes up. But I'm saying for the story or just for the
Yes.
overall arc of things, I don't know why we need him to
Yep.
as a show, but obviously they have a plan for him. But I think it's cool and they should focus more on the mental health side of it. I think
Hmm.
that's a little
I think,
that'll make an interesting story.
yeah,
So,
I'm gonna disagree with you slightly. I don't think they have a plan for him past this show necessarily. I think if it does set up something else, I could see it being like a West Coast Avengers TV show. I don't
right.
think he's going. He, who knows? He could show up in something like Secret Wars just because everybody will show up in something like Secret Wars. But I don't think they have a specific role for him to play in future stories. I think they looked at the Wonder Man script and the pitch, and Kevin Feige looked at it and he was like, I think that's a really good idea. I think this story that you have to tell here works, and I want to tell it.
I agree. I think that it was a something they came up with is really interesting and fun to do, and we
Hmm.
just obviously can't think of what that is.
Right.
So,
Or we have thought of it, and it's just we don't know if we've thought of it or not. Because,
it sounds like something I would do for sure.
yeah, because we haven't seen it yet. And
Right. Well, I
there's
have
no there's no
because it's
leaks.
2028.
That's true. So, all right. Anything else on Wonder Man?
I mean, with Yahya Abdul Teens, like I'm sure he's a pretty sought after actor, right? So
Hmm.
I could see that the part being more of it's a one time kind of thing, or oof, I don't know. I'm sure the contract is probably pretty short. I'm assuming. I could see why they would just make it hey, this is a good story. We want to tell it one and done. Maybe we'll pull him back in for something else
Hmm.
some other time. So just
Yeah, he only has one other thing in production at this point in time, uh, forthcoming. So
yeah,
it's and a couple things in pre-production, but pre-production means who knows what happens with those.
yeah,
Um, I would wonder if Marvel even has like a contract with him for any appearances after this.
right. I
If
could
they don't,
agree. I could see that.
yeah. There was talk, I feel like a couple of years, maybe 3, 4 years at this point. So, like 1990. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Marvel
can't wait till grunge happens. It's gonna be great.
Marvel kind of stopped handing out the multi-picture contracts for a lot of stuff.
Right.
I think they probably have for some characters where they're like, yeah, we know that we want you around for a bunch of things. Like the whole Fantastic Four team, for example. I'm guessing they probably are like, we want you for minimum 5 movies.
Right. They're in it for a while.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
Because like I mean, you can get through 3 of them real fast
Hmm.
for that. So
Man, that is a paycheck. I mean,
and a
that's
half.
yeah, like that is you're pretty much set, right? Kind
Yep.
of, I would think you're set for life at this point. Like you wouldn't really necessarily probably have to work
I mean,
unless you're like obviously they have like a
yeah,
desire to do
yeah.
their
I mean, Pedro Pascal has to have already made a lot of money from The Mandalorian.
oh yeah. I- So it's really just yeah, I'll do that project after this,
Yeah.
after they're done with that. But otherwise, I would say once they're done with these Fantastic Four things, movies and
Yep.
appearances, they could all retire very happily.
Yes. And then the question that you were trying to get ahead of,
Yep.
the ranking of all 3 of these. What is your number 3?
Number three is gonna be the wait, we should list them out again because we got
Ironheart.
um
So Daredevil
Ironheart.
Born Again,
Yep.
Ironheart, and Wonder Man.
Okay. So Ironheart's my third most interest, if that
Hmm.
makes sense. I'm that is I should say that's the one I'm least interested in out of the three.
Yeah.
Let's take it from that approach. It just I don't know.
It's it's been
It's
sitting there
so,
so long. It's
yeah,
just weird.
it's just dusty. It's dusty. I don't know what it's gonna do. So maybe once we, it gets released, and of course, maybe it'll
Yeah.
be great. But I think that's right now. I'm just not. The only thing I'm really interested in that is Sacha Baron Cohen. That's kind of all I really want to see because I'm excited to see him play a Mephisto.
Mhm. I'm excited to see that one, and I do think you were in some ways were also like accurately saying it the first very convoluted way of the one you're because I'm anticipating that one still. There's no project on this list that I'm not anticipating from Marvel. It's just the one that I'm anticipating the least. But I
Right.
want to see what Anthony Ramos is going to do with the role as the Hood, like how they use that character. And I actually really want to see what Dominique Thorne can do as Riri when she has a chance to kind of shine in that role. She was such a MacGuffin in Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Hmm.
Yeah, Wakanda Forever, that her her addition to that movie actually hurts, I think, that character.
Yeah. Yes, I'd
I'd
agree.
have I'd have loved to have had her just be separate or to have been able to get Ironheart before Black Panther Wakanda Forever so that we get to know the character. Because I think Dominique Thorne can do a good job with that role. She just wasn't given anything great to work with.
Yeah, I think she's gonna. I for that show for Ironheart, I actually just
Mhm,
I have no doubt that she's gonna really be great. That and it's gonna be fun to watch her, and I think she's gonna knock it out of the park. So that just kind of in my brain goes without saying, just
mhm.
based on what we saw in Wakanda Forever. I agree, it didn't fit. And so, but her in her own leading role, I think she's gonna do great. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should. I guess I'd like to emphasize that I truly believe that her acting, her vibe that she gives off, everything's going to be great and fit the role of Riri
Yes.
really well. So looking forward
Yeah.
to that, I should say.
And I think, like I was saying, it's you're anticipating this one as well. You're excited for it. It's
Sure.
just compared to the others,
Yeah,
compared to stuff that's higher on the list.
correct.
What is your number 2?
The number two, the Wonder Man is such a big, huge question mark.
Hmm.
Man, I now I'm second guessing my three and two. Oh, okay, I'll stick with it. So Wonder Man is so it's interesting to you know what? God, am I gonna? I feel like I may be gonna backtrack.
Wonder Man is going to be your three.
Yeah, I think it is should be my three because I just don't understand what they're gonna do with it, and
Hmm.
I honestly am not. I can't envision what they're gonna do with Wonder Man. So I'm making that my three. Ironheart's my two.
All right. So you already talked about it. My two is actually going to be Daredevil Born Again.
Oh, shut up! Really?
Hmm.
I'm shocked. I am shocked.
But yeah, I flip-flopped the two from uh kind of the order that everything was put in when we did our like five most anticipated out of the nine things coming out next year. But Daredevil Born Again, I think, is below Wonder Man for me, just because I think I know more what to expect from it.
Hmm,
And like I've started the Netflix Daredevil show, and I do need to get back to continuing to watch that. But it didn't like really hook me super hard immediately.
sure. How far in did
Which
you get?
uh three, four episodes.
Okay. Yeah, it's a
And
slow
that
burn.
yeah, that's probably because it is that slow burn. That said, I enjoy the characters. Like I enjoy what I've seen of Matt Murdock in the MCU. I really like Vincent D'Onofrio as Fisk. So there's going to be a lot that's very good about it. And if they can give me some of the feel that I got from Echo as well, kind of tied in, like if they can keep it tonally similar to that, which that
Yeah.
was hard hitting as well,
Yeah. I
then I think if they can channel a bit more of that than what I've seen thus far in the Netflix show, I'll be happy. Very happy with it.
Yeah, because the Netflix show, like, I don't know, it's very much to me superheroes. It's not superhero second, but it almost feels second, and it's heavy in story and
Hmm.
heavy in emotion.
Yeah.
And you can really feel like the pain physically that happens in that show,
Hmm.
and even in like the second season, some of the pain just mentally that Matt goes through.
Hmm.
So it's got that going for it for sure. And I agree. If they can do that in Born Again, if they can do what they did in Echo, yeah, I think and it just needs to get a little bit over a certain hump to make it
Yeah.
really, really good. So,
Yeah. So then your number one, obviously,
yep.
Born Again.
Nope. Yes.
Changing the order again.
Oh,
Ironheart up to number one.
yeah. God. What if season two? Come on. Agatha? No. Um, yeah. It just because I have seen the Netflix, I don't know. I really just like the characters. I liked what they did with the show before. It sounds like they're continuing with that. I love the Punisher's back in it, and Vincent D'Onofrio is awesome to watch. So, yeah. It's gonna be gritty. I know it's
Mhm.
but I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I get why. I'm sure when I'll try and remember to talk about the voting on this one next week as well. That Born Again is going to be the highest
Hmm.
voted one. For me, I do put Wonder Man as my top one, just because of tonally what I got from that little trailer.
You just
Like
want more
the
Trevor. Just love
I
you some Trevor.
Yeah, Trevor Slattery is great, but beyond that, just kind of having these two different characters, because like Simon Williams seems like such a different, like it handles everything very differently than uh Trevor does. And like it's going to be kind of that odd couple type feeling to it.
Mhm.
And I want to see what they can do with this character. I want to see how they can build something out and to see if they can pull off a comedy show miniseries that maybe pokes a little bit more fun at Hollywood, at LA, like they were trying to do in She-Hulk, which sometimes worked, sometimes didn't. Can they pull off something that's really consistent with it? And I mean, the fact that they're seemingly trying to do that again after She-Hulk makes me fairly convinced that they have something they're very confident in.
That is the one thing about Wonder Man that is intriguing is that if we are right and it's really not planned for much more than just this, the script is going to be really good. And I think
Yes.
I could see that. I could see that. I don't, yeah, I
But
don't
yeah,
think that's
yeah,
it. I,
yeah. Let us know which your most anticipated is. You can do that over on X, or you can let me know at the Scando, or with hashtag 10minmarvel, or leave a comment over on Facebook, facebook.com/10minmarvel. Obviously, I said I'm going to be putting this up tonight, the day it comes out, on the community tab, uh, on YouTube. You just search for 10 Minute Marvel. So drop a vote there as well. That's going to be where I'm compiling the votes from. And again, we really appreciate everybody who checks out the podcast every week. If
tell your
you,
friends.
yeah,
Sorry.
Greg gave a few ways to support the podcast at the beginning, but we also have a Patreon, patreon.com/nerdologists. The funds go to help improve the quality of this podcast, as well as the Multi Meeples YouTube channel, 10 Minute Marvel YouTube channel, and nerdologist.com website, though I am planning some changes to that going forward in 2025. So Greg will hear about them in 3 years, in 2028. But with that, we'll see you next time.
Take care, everybody.